go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing.
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie, and today I put together 15 of my best neutral fall DIYs using supplies from the Dollar Tree. So let's get started. The first DIY, we're going to use one of these little summer sun hats from the Dollar Tree and just a wood pumpkin. It doesn't have to be a plain one like this. It can be any wood pumpkin from Dollar Tree because we're going to cover it with that great material that the sun hat's made out of. And this turned out so cool. Now, I know that on these sun hats, if you start unwinding the seam, you can get it into strips. But I'm going to kind of take a different approach on this one. I am going to try to leave a lot of it intact and kind of use that curved brim of the hat to make my little sections of the pumpkin. So I just went in and cut the top part off of the hat. And so now I have these great arched pieces like that I thought I could use to start putting this together. So I just put some hot glue on this side. I try to line up the arch with the side of my pumpkin, and then I just trim it down and secure it with hot glue. It's a nice thick material, so you can use hot glue on this, no problem. And that should be strong enough to keep it on there. And then I just go around and trim that up close to the side of the pumpkin to give me that great pumpkin shape. And we're going to cover the entire pumpkin kind of using that strategy. So that was that section of the pumpkin. So I'm going to do the same thing here on the other side. Just kind of lining the arch up there with it and doing that whole section up into the little section there at the bottom where it kind of goes in a little bit, goes almost all the way there. And then I'm going to go ahead and use the material here in the middle too. It's going to give us this really cool, almost like a seagrass, a faux seagrass effect on the pumpkin. And it looks so great, especially for neutral decor. I was trying to kind of line this up how that would kind of arch a little bit. It's not near as arched as the sides of it, but we're going to kind of piece it together little by little. And so I just hot glue a strip of it right here. And then I can kind of trim it into that arched shape for a little pumpkin section to kind of keep that same pattern going that we had on the sides. I'm going to use another strip there from the side of the hat to do the same thing. And you could, separate this into the individual pieces and kind of put it together piece by piece. But I think it was a little bit easier kind of keeping them connected like this. And right now it looks a little crazy, but we're going to make this look better. So I went ahead and cut individual strips to kind of do the middle section here because I saved the very top of the hat to kind of cut in an oval shape for that section of the pumpkin. And it'll have that nice round center. So I go ahead and hot glue that right in the center, which makes sense, right? And then using my strips, I can kind of frame that out, clean it up, make it look a little bit better. And they kind of look like the little sections of a pumpkin, just hot gluing that all down. Now, one advantage of cutting the strips is you don't get the little plastic strings as much, but I think those might not be so bad if you pull them out before you kind of put something together. But I just used some twine to go over the little pumpkin stem. This is some thicker twine, and I just hot glued it and just ran it up on the pumpkin stem. Rope or twine always makes a great pumpkin stem for these. And I'm going to kind of just make it the same length that it was before, so that looks good. And I really kind of like the vibe of this. Definitely the little section pieces really helped kind of give it that pumpkin vibe, but it's a really cool texture. So I wanted to make a sign to go behind it. So I wanted it to be kind of heavy duty too. So I'm going to use 2 of the wood plank boards from Dollar Tree. You could also use the wood shelf signs. I like to put those together to make signs as well. These are cut pretty square. Sometimes you need to sand the ends of them because they're a little rough. But usually they have one side that's got a really nice smooth surface that's great for making signs. The other side is usually a little bit rougher, I have found. So I'm just going to go around with my sanding block, kind of clean it up a little bit, and then we can just attach the two pieces together. It's so thick and kind of square that you can just use hot glue and glue the two pieces together to get a larger sign. And it's a great source of wood. You could always stain it if you wanted to. I kind of want like a driftwood feel to mine, so I'm going to start with some ivory acrylic, kind of do a base coat of ivory acrylic all over. And then once I get that on there and dry, I'm going to go back with some Antique Wax by Waverly and kind of do a wood, like a little bit of a wood grain just by distressing in one direction like this. Just kind of all over, and then kind of blend it with a baby wipe, kind of make it a little bit softer. And it's going to give me kind of a really cool, like kind of driftwood finish. Now, I have some extra like little sawtooth hangers. I always save those off of the canvases that I DIY from Dollar Tree. So I'm just going to use that to hang this sign. So I love these because they don't have any of the little tiny nails. You can just use your hammer and hammer them right in. And I think that looks good. So let's go ahead and attach our little like faux seagrass pumpkin. I kind of wanted it to sit up a little bit just because the stem was wrapped in rope. So I didn't think it was going to sit too level. So I'm just going to use a couple of wood dominoes from Dollar Tree just to make a base there. You could use anything like a Jenga block or something like that. And then I hot glue this to the back side using the twine wrapped stem and the area where we added the little wood dominoes. Now, at first I was going to add this little galvanized metal leaf on there, but I decided that a word would look way better. So these are the little metal fall words they have every year at Dollar Tree. And it is the perfect size for this pumpkin. So just have to decide what I want mine to say. And I think I like the word welcome on there. I'm just going to leave it galvanized metal like that. I think it looks really good with like the ivory and the wood colors on that. So it's just a matter of attaching that. I'm just going to do some hot glue here in a few places, trying to make it not so obvious. I don't want glue coming out everywhere. So just a couple places to tack that down. And then I think every pumpkin needs some little pumpkin tendrils. So I use some wire jute from the Dollar Tree. Just wrap it around something the shape of a pen. Make a little pumpkin tendril to add to our pumpkin stem up here. I've got a little room behind the pumpkin so I can kind of glue it right underneath. And cut off any wire that might be sticking out. Then for a pumpkin leaf, I thought it would be really cute to use some of these fall leaves from Dollar Tree. These are kind of the ivory ones, so again, very neutral. And I thought maybe they are a little bit different. So I chose like a large one and then like a small one. Maybe we'll have like two little pumpkin leaves up here. And again, I have that kind of space there so I can just put some hot glue on the little leaf stem and glue that into place. It's going to kind of fill up that empty spot of our little fall sign. And it's going to provide a little bit more decor. I'm going to layer the smaller one right on top. And just securing that all down with some hot glue. And I really love how this turned out. I think it's so pretty. It's got a very like classy feel to it. And again, if you don't like a lot of color in your fall, I know a lot of you guys like to decorate like neutrals for fall. This would be great for that. And here it is. This is how it looks hanging in my home. I really like the wood, that great like seagrass texture and the metal combination. It's really pretty. Okay, for the next DIY, I wanted to make a really kind of cool pumpkin shelf sitter. So we're going to use one of the little burlap pumpkins. I like those because they're on a stand. So I don't really need this little cardboard sunflower or this little raffia bow on here. So that's the first thing I'm going to deconstruct on this, is just use my heat gun to kind of melt the glue on those to pull those off. And my vision for this is I wanted to cover it with that great like foil metal acorn stickers from the Dollar Tree. I decided to just go ahead and rip the entire burlap off, thinking that might help get rid of all that texture and then maybe the glitter, but the glitter was still kind of everywhere. So my first step here is just to kind of seal all the glitter down, kind of make it disappear here. just by painting the pumpkin white. And that's just going to give me a plain background for if we add the stickers on there, because that sticker is kind of like a mesh. So there is going to be some openings and stuff on there. So you would be able to kind of see what's behind it. And then for the base, it's kind of a really dark wood. So I kind of wanted it to make it look a little bit more distressed. So I distressed that with ivory. And I guess it's called adhesive diamond wrap. And it is like a peel and stick. So it's not quite white enough for a pumpkin, but I think it would be easy enough to piece this together to make this a really interesting texture for the front of the pumpkin. So I just kind of flip it over and use a Sharpie to kind of figure out exactly how big to make it. And I think it's going to work better to kind of cut it beforehand. Kind of requires a little bit of heavy duty scissors to cut through that, but just cutting down the sides and the top of the pumpkin until I have it just right. Then I can use the rest of the diamond mesh to kind of fill in the side parts that are missing. So I'm just going to peel that, stick that down to our dry paint on our pumpkin, just making sure I get it lined up as straight as I can. And then I just want to kind of continue that same pattern here on the sides, just by kind of lining it up how it would look like that. So I decided it might be easier to kind of do it one strip at a time. That way I could trim it down. And then I kind of had to do more than one with the acorns, so I kind of leave those intact. But I just kind of cut it down until I got it to fit. You could just stick a piece on there like that and then just trim around the side. That might be a little bit easier too. And now we have like the entire surface of the pumpkin covered in the acorns. And then I wanted to paint it. I don't want to leave it that same kind of gold and brown color it was. So I'm going to distress the whole thing first with ivory. It's going to kind of, blend in with that white background that we did on this. And that's going to kind of make all of that back texture, the ivory color. And then we can go back over all of the acorns and distress them and really kind of make them pop on that texture on the pumpkin. I found that if you used a brush, you could really get down in between all the nooks and crannies on that. And so then for the distressing, I just use Antique Wax by Waverly in a foam brush. And I just lightly drag it over and see how it pulls out all the acorns and all the little dots. And it gives you this really cool feel. I kind of follow that up with just a paper towel to kind of wipe off any excess and blend it in. And then I found this great little ornament from the Target dollar spot for $1 that says Hello Pumpkin. And I thought that'd be really cute. We can kind of string that on the top here of our little pumpkin. It's already got a hanger and some wood beads on it, so might as well take advantage of that. And the Hello Pumpkin's kind of an orange, but it's not a real bright orange, so I think that is going to work well with the color schemes on this. I just attach it with a little hot glue on the back. And then I'm going to use some of that wire jute again and ink pen to make a little pumpkin tendril for this one as well. And kind of attach it up here around the stem of the pumpkin. I decided just to hot glue it to the back. And then since, we covered the little pumpkin in acorns, I thought it'd be a really cute touch to add like an acorn to it too. And they have some of these little wood acorns from Dollar Tree. And there are raw wood, so you do have to kind of paint it or stain it if you want a finish on it. I thought we could just kind of attach one just to the little pumpkin stem. And so I just stained the little acorn part with some Antique Wax by Waverly. Kind of want a rustic stain on that, nothing too solid. Wipe that off with a paper towel, and then I just went ahead and actually just did the entire acorn with that. It's kind of totally gonna go. And I just don't wipe off the excess part too much. And then I also distress the bottom part with a little bit of ivory just to lighten it up a little bit, make it look a little bit different than the acorn cap. And I'm just gonna attach it right up here at the top, just by hot gluing that onto our little diamond mesh. And this DIY was so easy to put together. I think it turned out really beautiful and high-end looking. It looks way better than it looked from the Dollar Tree for sure. They have some really cool little pumpkin signs this year. You can kind of modify this to some of the different shapes and sizes, or I really like this one as well. And that is how it turned out. Now, for the next DIY, I'm actually going to use this great little wagon that I found at the Target dollar spot for $5. I really had to have it because I thought it was so cute and would be so cute to decorate for different holidays. I didn't really like the black finish on it though. I'm fine with the galvanized metal. That's totally going to go with some of the DIYs we're doing today that have the galvanized metal on them. But not a big fan of the black. So the first thing I do is distress all of the black on it with ivory. Kind of brighten that up a little bit. And they have lots of different options. For my fall coffee bar that I just did the video on the other day, they have like an orange wheelbarrow this year that you can kind of do the same kind of thing with too. I always love to pick these up though. I think they're so cute. They also have a wooden one too. So I just fill it in with some floral moss there from Dollar Tree, kind of the brownish kind. And then for a more neutral color, I thought we could fill it up with some ivory pumpkins. These are from the Dollar Tree. These are the ones on the wire. I don't really need them to be on the wire though, so I'm just going to pull those off and load up our little wheelbarrow. You have to be kind of careful though that you don't take all the paint off these. I was trying to figure out a strategy that would be the best way to remove them. And then I decided that just cutting them with my floral scissors from Dollar Tree is a way better way to do that, because then you don't tear any of the paint off the bottom. So just trying to do enough to fill it all the way up. So I used several packages of the little ivory pumpkins. Then I decided I wanted to decorate the wagon after I got it all put together, of course. And I'm going to do that with some of these little rub-on transfers from the Dollar Tree. They have this great like blue and orange pumpkins. And so I just picked one that I thought would look good on there. Just cut that down to size. And then just using my scraper, I'm going to scrape that little rub-on transfer on there. And this is a great way to decorate galvanized metal. I think it looks better than trying to paint it and stuff like that. You really get a cool finish. Anytime you're putting those down, if you don't get it all down, just lay it back down, scrape again. You should be able to transfer your whole image. So just going to load my pumpkins back in here. And then, of course, then I was like, you know what? I kind of want my little wagon wheels to look like wood. And I kind of forgot that step. So I go back and just distress those with some antique wax by Waverly and like a little chippy brush from Dollar Tree. And it kind of made that look like wood instead of those black wheels that were before. And this is how it turned out. I think it's very neutral, very cute. Items from the Dollar Tree and the Target dollar spot on this one. And I love the little pumpkin wagon. Okay, for the next DIY, we're going to use some of these wood planks from Dollar Tree and another rub-on transfer sticker. This one says Hello Autumn. And I thought we could make a really easy, like, little fall planter using these. So I'll need 4 sides for my little planter box and 1 for the bottom. And the first step is to paint them all. So we're just going to paint them all ivory at first here. And I really only need to paint like the outside. You're not really going to be able to see the inside of the box. Then I want to give them that kind of like driftwood vibe that we did before. So I'm going to do that by using Antique Wax by Waverly, a chippy brush from Dollar Tree, and just kind of dragging that down in one direction, giving me like a little faux wood grain, blending that in with a baby wipe, and you get this really cool like wood effect. I go back with a little bit more ivory to distress that some more because I thought it looked a little bit dark. And I think that looks pretty good. Now, I like to construct these planter boxes using these little Jenga blocks from Dollar Tree. So I'm going to glue one on flat like this, lining it up against the edge at the very end of that one. We're going to do the same thing here on the other side. And that's going to give us something to glue to construct our little planter boxes. Now, for the other end, I can fit one more, so I turned this one up on its side. That way it's glued a little bit more to the side piece, whereas the other one is glued a little bit more to this piece. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing here on a second one, laying this one flat, this one on its side, again lining both of them up with the edges, just like that. So you need 8, I guess, of those little Jenga blocks to put this together. Then I put some hot glue on the side of those, and we can just line that up, glue that on one of the other little side panels, trying to keep it as square as we can. Gonna do the same thing here on the other side. And just kind of holding those in place. Now for this last part, I'm gonna have to do it all in one step. So I put hot glue on all 4 pieces and lay like the remaining side on there. Now, when I lined them up before, I made sure that I went all the way to the end with at least one of the Jenga blocks. So that's also going to give me something that I can use to attach the bottom of this. It's going to give me something to glue to. So I put some glue on the tip of each one of the little Jenga blocks and lay the little piece of Dollar Tree wood right on top. I love crafting with these little wood panels from the Dollar Tree. They have them like in rectangles too. They're great because they're pretty consistent in size. You can see they're not bowed or anything like that. You can really build some cool stuff with it. And now it's time to decorate this little planter. I thought that we could decorate it with that little rub-on transfer. That's an easy way to make kind of a customized seasonal item like this without having to use your Cricut or anything like that. And again, it's super easy. All you have to do is peel off the back and stick that on there, scraping it onto your box. And I think it looks really pretty like that, but I kind of want it to look a little bit distressed, a little bit older. So I used some ivory and just go and kind of distress the actual decal itself, just to kind of make it blend in, make it look old and distressed like the rest of the planter box. Look how pretty that turned out. Now it's time to decorate it with some fall florals. So I'm going to start by using some Dollar Tree foam. I got this one, it's kind of like a square block, so I thought that would fit really nicely in there. It kind of does, but really only on its side, but that's okay. And then to cover up the foam, just to make it look a little bit nicer, I'm going to use some Spanish moss from Dollar Tree and just fill in the top. Then we can go ahead and add the fall florals. And sometimes if you add a little hot glue on there first, you can kind of keep it in place a little bit. Now, I found some great stuff from Dollar Tree to use. This one's kind of got like the cattails on it. It's also got like some pine cones. And again, I'm kind of going for like some neutral colors. It's got like the little cotton. So we're going to kind of mix those all up just by cutting them apart in separate pieces and just pushing those down into the foam. Then these cattails are a little bit different color. That great yellow color, which I think goes great for fall, but it's not too loud. And we're just going to keep building this just using fall florals just to fill up the little planter box. So I kind of line those up all around the edges, and then we can go in with some of these little burlap daisies. I love those, and the neutral color goes great for fall. And just kind of scatter those all over. And then I found these too. They kind of have feathers on them. I thought that looked really cute for fall. And the colors totally match what we did here in the pot. So I kind of put like 4 all over and kind of having those stick out the top there. And this is how it turned out. Our little Hello Autumn planter box for fall. This could go great anywhere. This would look really cute sitting next on a table next to your front door or something like that. Really anywhere. Now, check out this great ceramic pumpkin I found at Dollar Tree. It's white, but it's got this really cool, like, it's kind of like a concrete pumpkin. It's got a great pattern on there, but you can't really see it too much being white. So I thought I would bring that out by distressing it with some Antique Wax by Waverly, and then you can really see that cool texture on there. Kind of blend it a little bit so it's not too dark. But I really wanted to bring out all that great texture on there because I wanted like a few pumpkins and stuff to kind of sit around this little fall display that I did. And then I'm just going to use the straight Antique Wax by Waverly to actually kind of paint the pumpkin stem to kind of make that look a little bit darker. And once you can see all the cool texture on there, it's really gorgeous, I think. Now, whenever you paint with the Antique Wax by Waverly, make sure you get it really good and dry, because it does take a little bit longer to dry than just using paint. Then I also found like kind of a neutral colored, like fall fuzzy gourd from the Target dollar spot. And then I also found a little faux leather pumpkin from Dollar Tree. These are so cute. The only thing I didn't really like about it is the dark brown plastic pumpkin stem. The shape is good, but the color is just too all one color. So I thought we could kind of mix it up and distress it a little bit. So I go over the entire stem first with some ivory paint. Then I'm going to go back and distress that with some Antique Wax by Waverly. It's going to bring out all these different shades, kind of make it look more like a real pumpkin stem. And then we're just going to kind of scatter these around with my neutral fall decor. And I love all the different colors of ivory and brown. Aren't those so pretty? I really like that concrete pumpkin. And then maybe a little gourd over here. Now remember this little galvanized metal leaf? I did want to do something with it. And so I thought we could make a really easy little fall sign with it, combining it with one of the long like wood signs from Dollar Tree. This one is actually left over from the 4th of July. They have these, it seems like, for every season now. It doesn't really matter because I'm not going to use that star cutout anyway. I just wanted something about the size to make a fun little fall leaf sign like this. And I kind of wanted the same colors as we did our little welcome pumpkin that looked like the faux seagrass on it. So I'm going to just cut this little board down to size, long enough for the little leaf to attach on the front. And then I decided that I kind of wanted it to be like a kind of a chunkier sign. So I used that for reference and cut down another piece on that same sign. And we can kind of layer those together to make it a thicker sign like that. Now I do want to still use the existing hanger though, so I'm going to go ahead and pop that back on first. One less thing I'll have to do. And then I wanted a little bit more texture. So I'm actually going to add some burlap to the sign underneath the galvanized metal leaf. And I have a roll of it, the 6-inch roll from Walmart, but you know what? You can get this at Dollar Tree now. I just hot glued mine on. It just happened to be the perfect size. And then all I have to do is trim down the top and the bottom. And that's just going to give us another great like neutral color to go with this little fall sign. It's just a very simple little fall sign, but I think it turned out really cute. So to attach the two signs together, we're just going to use some hot glue. I'm just going to have the cutout part be on the back. It doesn't really matter. I just kind of wanted a solid surface up here to cover with the burlap. And now we can just attach the little galvanized metal sign. It's like a oak leaf, I guess. I kind of want it to be a little bit at an angle. And so we're just going to attach that to the burlap with a little bit of hot glue. Once I got it on there, I thought it looked a little bit plain and it could use maybe just a little bit touch. So we're going to do a couple things to it just to take it up a notch. The first thing I want to cover are the little hanger hole in it. So I just take some twine, tie a simple bow, and we're just going to glue that over the top. I always like to do that just because it's easier than trying to fill those kind of holes usually. And a little bow on anything looks cute. Then I thought we could kind of draw the little veins on the leaf by just using a white paint pen just to give it a little bit more, you know, detail. Easy peasy, kind of basic, but very neutral. And I think it looks great combined with the little welcome pumpkin we did before, and it totally goes that neutral color scheme. Now, this is a tier tray that I actually got at Target dollar spot. It's like a great like A-frame shape. It's got like 2 shelves on it. Not real big, but it's cute to do like a little fall decor. So we're going to use items from the Dollar Tree to decorate this. The first thing I'm going to use is one of these little Hello Autumn envelopes that they have. They have these like in like lots of different styles. They're all really pretty, I think. And I thought that would look cute, kind of hanging on the front, the little A-frame there of it. And I just kind of wanted to soften mine up a little bit. So I just go in and kind of distress the little Hello Autumn sign with a chunky brush and a little bit of ivory just to kind of give it a weathered appearance. And then I'm going to use like the existing hanger that came on there just to kind of string that over the top of this little tier tray. This is a really easy, fun little tier tray to decorate. You can just kind of fill it with a few fall elements. It's going to look really cute and it's a nice color. So that's how that looks hanging there. I think that's a great use for it. Then I found a great like wood monogram pumpkin. Well, it looks like wood with the monogram of our last name on it from Dollar Tree. And then I'm not going to combine it with one of these little yarn pumpkins from the Target dollar spot. This one's that great kind of like honey color for fall. And then this is actually a thrift find. And look at this great little metal leaf tray that I found at Goodwill. I got it half off, so it was only like $1.50. It's a great brass color, and I thought that would look really cute on the tier tray as well. So we're just going to clean it up a little bit and just add that to the tray too. It's not a very large tray, so it's not going to take very much to decorate it for sure. And this is how it turned out with those 4 elements. Really pretty. I love all the colors. Okay, now the next DIY, I found this great little wood box from Dollar Tree. And so it's kind of similar to the planter that we made before, maybe a little bit smaller. It's kind of the size of a pencil box. But we're going to kind of use it as a pot to make a great like stacked pumpkin DIY. Now, I kind of wanted the theme of this one to be a little bit more fall and Halloween together. I wanted like fall colors, but I wanted a little bit of Halloween thrown in here. And I thought I could get that by attaching one of these little wood jack-o'-lantern stickers from the Dollar Tree to the little planter. That way I could turn it that direction for Halloween. If I didn't want it for Halloween, I could turn it the other direction. I'm going to give mine a little bit of color. I chose like the one that wasn't colored, and we're just going to go in with some blue here. And using a makeup sponge for this is a great idea because you don't use hardly any paint, but you get a nice even finish all over the thin wood. And then I'm just going to kind of wipe off any excess paint. It kind of gives it that nice stain appearance. And I love the wood color from this little box. And we can just add that to the front of it. Now to fill up the little planter box, I'm going to call it, we're going to use just some floral foam from the Dollar Tree, carving that down to fit right inside. And then we can stack the pumpkins on there. I love how this turned out. So the little wood stickers from the Dollar Tree have a little bit of double-sided tape on there, but really only a small piece. I thought it would stay on there a little bit better with a little bit of hot glue, so we're just going to hot glue this to the front. Now, a lot of the DIYs we've done so far have been neutral. Some of these might have a little bit more color in them, but nothing too crazy. I'm going to do like kind of the classic blue, orange, and brown burlap pumpkins on this one. I kind of wanted to wait on the base of it though, so I used some pebbles from the Dollar Tree to kind of fill in the void there and weigh it down so it's not so tippy. I found this great it's like a sweater material blue pumpkin pick from the Dollar Tree, and I thought this would make a great top for the top of the pumpkin stack, and it's already got the dowel attached, so perfect. Then for the middle pumpkin, I picked up an orange burlap pumpkin from Dollar Tree. It's just about the right size to layer right underneath of it. Then for the bottom pumpkin, I needed something bigger and I couldn't really find anything. So we're going to DIY our own like brown burlap or tan burlap one, and the bottom using just one of these foam pumpkins from the Dollar Tree. So the other 2 pumpkins are ready to go. So let's go ahead and DIY the large one. I'm just going to use some of the fall burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree, but you could also use like the roll burlap that they have there now. This kind of works a little bit better just because it is, thinner, and so you kind of need a thin item to wrap the pumpkins with so you don't get too much like of an opening or gap there on the sides. So I just start by hot gluing that to the foam pumpkin. The foam does kind of react with the hot glue, but as long as you work quickly, it shouldn't be a big problem. You're not going to be able to see the pumpkin under there anyway. So I just kind of start working one section at a time. I crisscrossed, made like a kind of a plus shape, and then I'm going to do the same thing here in the other direction, covering the entire thing with burlap. Then to kind of make it look more pumpkin shaped, we're going to wrap it with some twine. I just wrap the twine around, tie it off, and then just keep kind of going around, stringing it through the middle section as I go, until we get like all these great like pumpkin sections, and it's going to kind of give it that pumpkin feel. But the colors are matching in with the burlap, so it goes nicely together. I also hot glue down any of the burlap ribbon that is kind of sitting up a little bit so you don't see any of the white foam pumpkin underneath. Now it's about time to put this together. I'm going to start by removing the stem from the middle pumpkin. And then just using the skewer, I'm going to stab right through that pumpkin. It's foam inside, all the way through the bottom. And look how cute those colors look together. Then our DIY burlap pumpkin is going to be the very bottom pumpkin. So I try to find the center, kind of working around the twine that we use there. I kind of used a thicker twine on that, the twine from Walmart, and just stab the skewer down right inside. Maybe you have to cut a hole here to get it to go through the bottom. But this is a time saver having the dowel already on there. And there are our 3 stacked pumpkins for our little planter. We still have some skewer on there, so we can just use that to push that down into the floral foam. And then I had a thought. I really wanted to incorporate some like fall leaves into the design. I thought it might be easier to attach it now before I go ahead and put that in there. So these are the fall leaves we're going to use. They're kind of like the, kind of a tan and an ivory color. And I thought that would look really cute, kind of like peeking out between the layers of the pumpkins. And since I still have a little bit of play here between the 2 pumpkins here, I can kind of pull that back, kind of sandwiching the little leaves in between. I do also attach them with a little bit of hot glue to make sure they don't go anywhere. And I'm just going to alternate those 2 colors. I think those are nice. They kind of complement it well. And I just do a total of 4 of the fall leaves all the way around. And I really think that gave it a great fall touch. Now we can go ahead and attach the skewer here. I also use some hot glue on it just to make sure it's going to stay put. And kind of make a little pool of hot glue and then just stab the skewer right down into it. This was really easy to put together. So you'll have to really kind of look around at Dollar Tree and try to get 3 pumpkins that will work with this. You'll want to want 3 different sizes, 3 different colors that complement each other. I love how this turned out. Now, I really like the top part, but I thought like our little planter box might be a little bit plain, so I wanted to add a little bit of detail to it as well. I thought using some of the Dollar Tree brown rope would be really cute to kind of line the top and the bottom of that. So I'm just going to hot glue that right here along the top seam. And go all the way around the top of our little planter box. And then to kind of balance it out, I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom of the planter box, just by doing another row of rope. And it really kind of tied, I think, everything together, and I think it turned out so cute. I really love a little bit of touch of blue in my fall. I do have some areas I like to do kind of a neutral decor, but I always like a little touch of blue. This is how it turned out, our little burlap pumpkin stack, using supplies from the Dollar Tree. Hey guys, I wanted to take a quick moment out of today's video and let you know about our Facebook group. I always have it linked in the description below the video. You'll find out when I post new videos, and you'll get to see what everybody's been DIYing. And I also have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, and my handle is Crafty Beach on YouTube. Okay, next DIY. I picked this up at Walmart because I couldn't find this shape of jack-o'-lantern plastic candy pail anywhere else but Walmart. I think it was $2. And we're going to do a really fun DIY here. That's a fall decoration. That's also a Halloween decoration. So it's kind of got some secrets. Really wanted this shape. I wanted it to be like a classic little plastic jack-o'-lantern candy pail. And I'm going to do something where the little jack-o'-lantern face can illuminate, but during the daytime, I want it to look like a burlap pumpkin, very decorative. So I'm going to just cut like a little circle here in the very bottom using a razor blade so that we can add like a little battery-operated candle in there to light it up. So want to see if I got it about this right size, and pretty close. Now, to get it to light up, we're going to have to actually cut out the face of the jack-o'-lantern. Now, this material is really easy to cut. It's almost too easy to cut, so be really careful when you're cutting this out. I found using a razor blade was probably the easiest way. And I just went ahead and cut out the eyes, the little triangular nose, and the mouth part. That way, that area are all going to be lit up underneath the burlap because we're going to cover the entire little plastic jack-o'-lantern with burlap. And I don't know why stores don't carry these anymore. Dollar Tree says they never carry them. I couldn't find them even at Target, so I had to go to Walmart to buy that, but that's the classic what I think of when you think of like trick-or-treating, right? Now, to cover with burlap, we're going to start on the very bottom. We're going to kind of work around the little hole we left in there for a candle. And we're just going to start by hot gluing that on. And we're going to wrap the entire jack-o'-lantern with the burlap. This is the rolled burlap from Dollar Tree. I don't know how wide that is. Would you say maybe like 3 inches? And just start wrapping that around. I just go around once because I kind of want to end it here where we have the little bit of an opening. Hot gluing that on. And we're just going to kind of repeat that all the way around until you can't see any of the blue pumpkin. I like the blue color, so I thought that if you could see through, it would at least be pretty, but the burlap's pretty thick, so you really don't get to see any of that when you're done. So I just kind of overlapped a little bit for the next row, and you can kind of see a slight overlap on every single one will allow you to cover like your entire pumpkin. So maybe 2 more rows here. I'm covering the top of the jack-o'-lantern completely. Just leaving that opening because I want to be able to switch out my little battery-operated candles here in the bottom. Because it's kind of a key component of this DIY. So we've got it all covered in burlap. I thought we could tighten it up a little bit by just kind of hot gluing down like some of the seams just to make it a little bit tighter, make sure you get that cool pumpkin shape. Now, I was a little worried that my burlap was going to be too thick and it wasn't going to work. So I decided to test it before I go any further. So I popped a little battery tea light candle in the bottom, turned out all the lights in my craft area, and woohoo, it worked. See the cool surprise jack-o'-lantern that you can turn on at night. I love this DIY because it's transitional for fall and Halloween, but it's going to look great during the daytime. So, success. Now for a pumpkin stem, I thought we could use some of these little wood stems from Dollar Tree, but I kind of wanted a big pumpkin stem, so I thought maybe if I combine a couple of them together, I can kind of make a stem that kind of goes over to the side, kind of like that. Just going to use hot glue to attach the 2 pieces together. And then we're just going to decorate this little burlap pumpkin and make it look really pretty. Now, I kind of wanted the pumpkin stem to look like rope. And so I'm just going to use the little wood stems as structure. And then I'm simply going to take some white rope from the Dollar Tree and glue that on, winding that around the pumpkin stem. And then gluing that on the end. Kind of made it a little longer so that we could kind of glue it to itself here at the tip, cover up all of the wood. And I left a little bit longer piece on there that I could kind of unwound and use that as little pumpkin tendrils with that little curly shape, right? I ended up only wanting 2. I thought 3 was a little much. Then for a little pumpkin leaf, I thought it'd be fun to do something a little tropical. So I picked up some of this tropical foliage from Dollar Tree. And I think this one looks really cute. I'm just going to attach that with hot glue. And we're going to decorate the top of this pumpkin with a coastal feel just because I have a lot of coastal decor in my home and a lot of coastal decor for fall. So I thought maybe some seashells would make this look really decorative during the daytime, and then definitely a surprise at night when you can turn on the little battery-operated candle inside. Just some Dollar Tree seashells, and I'm going to finish it off with one of these little starfish that I get on Amazon. I love those, and it turned out so pretty. Pretty by day, little jack-o'-lantern by night. So this DIY definitely has a little bit of a surprise. So this is how it looks during the daytime. A beautiful fall pumpkin. You can see a little bit of the blue through there, but nothing real noticeable. And this is what it looks like with a little bit less lighting. So fun. And this is how it looks at night. A nice, fun jack-o'-lantern face. Okay, the next DIY, I thought we could take this little purple mesh pumpkin from Dollar Tree. This is from like the Halloween aisle, and make it into something really pretty because it's got a great pumpkin structure. Just not a fan of all of this purple mesh that's on there. And I want to give it a fall vibe, less of a Halloween vibe. So just a matter of deconstructing, taking that all off. It came with like an LED candle, which I tried to use it first by just reattaching it, but I didn't really like the vibe of the little LED light bulb in there. So I did end up replacing that with a battery-operated candle from Dollar Tree. But it was a little bit of work to get all this deco mesh off, especially here at the top. Used a little heat to try to kind of break up the glue, and we have the metal structure. Now, I thought it'd be really fun to combine maybe a couple different types of the Dollar Tree rope on this one. So this is the brown thinner rope, and then we're also going to use the white thinner nautical rope from Dollar Tree and do a different like sections, the different colors. So I chose for like the smaller rings inside, the ones that don't come out quite as far, we could do the brown rope. So I just cut one down to size and use that for reference to cut out all the others. And then we're simply just going to attach the rope with some hot glue. I just go from kind of the ring at the top to the ring at the bottom. That way it doesn't interfere with the candle operation there at the bottom. And we're just going to make this look like a really beautiful, like neutral color rope pumpkin for fall. That's also going to light up. So that's a little fun benefit. Once I got all the brown rope on there, I'm just going to kind of burn off any of the fuzzies. And then we can start working on the other section. I really like the idea of the two-tone rope, and definitely it goes with the neutral color scheme. So same thing, we're just going to cut down enough of these pieces to cover all of the other sections of the pumpkin and attach them with hot glue. I used the thinner white rope, but you could always use the larger diameter ones as well. There's kind of plenty of room to work with here. I just want to cover up all of the wire that you'd be able to see on the outside of it, but I don't really care if you can kind of see it on the inside. It's just going to provide like another like industrial touch, that like metal wire in there. Now, I didn't want to sit super flat like this, so I thought we would also make just a little base by doing a little ring of rope here at the bottom, where kind of all of the little rope pieces come around the little candle holder. And that's going to give it kind of a more solid base, make it stand up flat. And that looks pretty cool. Now we just need to decorate the pumpkin stem. I chose the white rope for that part, and we're just going to wind that around the little metal pumpkin stem that's already on that, kind of starting here at the very bottom, using a little hot glue to get it started, and then just simply wrapping it around, kind of gluing it to itself until I have a little pumpkin stem on the top here. Nothing too tall, but maybe a little taller than was on there before. And that's what it looks like so far. It's coming along. That's how it looks with like the little LED bulb in there, which I wasn't a big fan of, so I did end up switching that out. I think it looks really pretty. You could kind of leave it like this, but I wanted to kind of take it up a notch and give it a little bit more decor. But I also wanted to stay kind of like with the neutral, so I'm going to use some of these like they're kind of like a foam, white ivory flowers. They're vase fillers from Target. I think they're really beautiful. And I'm just going to glue some of those on there. And then I thought I would combine that with some of these little wood curl roses from Dollar Tree. These are like the solo wood. And it's going to totally go with that like white and brown neutral color scheme. So I thought it would be cute to kind of do two different kinds of flowers. And so maybe a couple of those as well. Then I always like to do a pumpkin tendril. You know me, so I'm going to use a little bit of that wire jute. Make a simple little pumpkin tendril to finish off this cute little rope pumpkin. And I think it looks so much better than it did before. That's when I decided I really didn't like the little LED light bulbs down here. I didn't think they really went with my vibe. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove that. I had hot glued it in, so just trying to melt the hot glue there. We're going to pop that out. It's the same size as the little battery-operated tea light candles. And so I'm just going to use that instead by popping that right in there too. And here it is, our little rope pumpkin candle holder, I suppose. Very neutral color scheme. Super fun DIY to put together. And it looks so much prettier, I think, than the purple one did. Okay, this is going to be another kind of like fall Halloween sign. I'm going to do it like kind of like fall colors, but it's also going to have a jack-o'-lantern on there. So it's going to have a little touch of Halloween if you want a little bit of cute Halloween decoration. I'm going to put two of these wood shelves together. These are from Dollar Tree. I love crafting with these. If you put 2 or 3 of these together, you can kind of make whatever size sign that you need. And I wanted to kind of combine those with the little wood jack-o'-lantern sign from the Halloween aisle at Dollar Tree. So to get started, I wanted to do a little blue. So I'm going to use my favorite color of blue. This is Cloudless acrylic paint from Walmart, the apple barrel paint. And even though it's not quite a neutral color, it's going to go great with my fall decor. I have a little touches of blue here and there, but we're actually going to decorate the little jack-o'-lantern with some neutral colors. So if you don't like the blue, you could always stain your wood, or just painted ivory would look really cute too. Just going to do a bead of hot glue along one side of the shelf, and we can put the two together to make a nice large sign. And this typically turns out pretty sturdy, but if you want, you can always reinforce it. I decided to reinforce this one a little bit because it's going to be a wall hanging. And so I'm just going to do that with a Dollar Tree ruler. I love these wood ones because you can just pop off the stickers. And I'm just going to glue that on the seam on the back. It's going to make it nice and sturdy back here. Now this already has like the holes on it for the hanging shelf. So I'm just going to use those to make a hanger using the existing like white twine that came with it. And it typically works a little better to add a little hot glue to the tips to be able to string that kind of through. I like to tie my hangers just straight on the front like that with little knots. Now it's time to decorate the jack-o'-lantern. So I want to cover it in burlap. I'm going to use this rolled burlap that I had, but you know what? Dollar Tree also has burlap now, so you could totally use that as well. I just want a piece that's going to cover the entire piece. And I decided to just use that as reference, use a Sharpie, try to trace it out. That way I can cut the burlap before I attach it, because I don't want it to be like really frayed. And you know, burlap definitely likes to fray around the edges. So now that I have a template, I can just use my scissors to go around and trim that down. And we're actually going to be DIYing the back of the jack-o'-lantern, but we'll be using that jack-o'-lantern face for reference. So if you don't have this exact one, you could do this same thing with just a plain pumpkin from the Dollar Tree. I think that's going to work. Now, what I did was I'm just going to go over the entire surface of the back of the pumpkin with some ivory acrylic, because, you know, the burlap, you can kind of see it through. And I kind of wanted a little bit of a contrast between like the ivory background and the brown burlap. So just a quick coat of paint on the back of that. Then I'm also going to fill in the little hanging holes here with a little bit of spackle just to clean that up so you won't be able to see that through the burlap as well. Now for the jack-o'-lantern face, I'm just going to use a black paint pen, and we are just going to draw on the little jack-o'-lantern face. It's so easy. It's just a triangle for the eyes and the nose. And I'm using the actual sign as reference to kind of sketch this out, do a little toothy grin for our jack-o'-lantern, and then just color that in with my black paint pen. You could always use a Sharpie for this as well. It's going to give you that great, like, subtle, like, little jack-o'-lantern face on there. Just a fun contrast. And then we are going to attach this to the back. I'm just going to do that with a pretty thick layer of Mod Podge to secure that down. Just kind of spreading that all over and then laying the burlap right on top. Trying to make sure my edges don't fray too much. I want to try to keep it as clean as I can get it. Kind of pushing that down with a paper towel and then trimming up any little frays here along the edges that might be sticking out. And now it's time to attach that to our little sign. I love the burlap and the blue together. It totally goes with my color scheme here in my house. And I think it's just a really, beautiful Halloween decoration. Not something that you would typically see. Now, the little holes in the sign were kind of bothering me, so I decided to kind of just use them as an element. So I'm just going to go ahead and use that twine that came with the shelves, stringing it through the back, knotting it on the front, and kind of just filling those in, just so it's just not distracting. You could also use spackle to fill those in if they were bothering you as well. Then I'm actually just going to add hot glue to the jack-o'-lantern face. It's going to be a perfect spacer to glue this right onto our little blue shelf sign. Now it's time to give it a little bit more decor. I'm going to use some of this raffia from Dollar Tree, but I actually got it at Goodwill. And make a cute little raffia bow for the top of this. And then I also want to give it a little bit of fall decor as well. So I just tie a simple little bow with that. I'm just going to attach it right over here to the side, something super sweet. And then I want to use fall leaves. I chose like the brown and or the tan and like ivory ones again. And I thought it'd be really cute to kind of have like little falling leaves like cascading in the blue sky around our little jack-o'-lantern. But the first one that I just kind of use it as a pumpkin leaf, like gluing it right behind our little jack-o'-lantern. I'm also going to use some of the little fall colored berries up here just for a little bit added decor. Now I covered the pumpkin stem also with burlap, but I thought we could do something to that to add another little element to it to kind of go with the color scheme. And I decided to just use some Dollar Tree brown rope, just simply unwinding it. It's going to give me all these great like brown strings. Keeping that all together, I just hot glue that on, and it gives me a really cute little interesting texture there for the little jack-o'-lantern pumpkin stem. And then I thought more leaves, so I'm just going to cut some of these out. I kind of want to stick with like the ivory ones. Kind of have them floating through the air next to the pumpkin, like that. And I just go around and attach those all with hot glue. Really beautiful little Halloween decoration that definitely works for fall and for Halloween. And it was really fun to put together. Here he is. I think he's super cute. And yes, that is my favorite color of blue. I love it. And this is how it looks hanging in my home. You think he's so sweet? And you could do the same thing without the jack-o'-lantern face if you just want a plain pumpkin. I think that'd be pretty too. Okay, the next item, I found these little lace doilies for $1 at Dollar General. I don't know if they have these in the pumpkin shape like this at Dollar Tree. If you've seen them, but you'll have to let me know in the comments below. But I thought this would make a really fun DIY for a sign. Now, I picked this up at Goodwill for half off, and it's just a really thick wood sign that I think is going to work well for this decor. Wanted a big chunky sign, but you could always do this with a Dollar Tree sign as well. This one had lots of writing on it. It was black. So I'm going to have to go ahead and kind of give me a blank canvas by just painting the whole thing ivory. What I want to do is kind of give it like that driftwood appearance that we've been using a lot today. But I also want to mask all that writing on there. So it took a couple coats of ivory chalk paint. I also painted a jumbo popsicle stick because I think I'm going to use that a little bit later on in the design. Then I just kind of lightly distress all over with some Antique Wax by Waverly, working in one direction, kind of blending that all in with a baby wipe, just to give us that coastal kind of farmhouse vibe ivory that I love so much for decorating. And I think that's going to make a really pretty background for the little pumpkin doily. And then on top of the doily, I thought it would be fun to do a wood leaf sign. So I picked this one up at Dollar Tree. It says Hello Autumn. And we're just going to stain the entire little wood leaf with some Antique Wax by Waverly. Also staining all of the letters that are attached to it because, you know, they're kind of there. They're kind of in the way. So you kind of have to kind of get in there with a brush and get all the surfaces stained. Then I'm just going to wipe off any excess antique wax with a paper towel. And I'm going to kind of paint the Hello Autumn a little bit more of an ivory color here just to kind of bring that out. It's a little hard to do this without getting paint on the sign below. But if you use a small brush like this, you can kind of get, you know, the best you can. And I always like to distress with ivory anyway, so if I get a little bit on there, I'll just embrace it, and I'll just distress the whole thing with ivory and make it look like I did it on purpose, right? And we're going to kind of layer these elements together today to make a really beautiful fall sign. Now, I did not patch the little holes, the little hanger holes there on the top, and they might interfere a little bit with the design, so I'm just going to kind of make them a decorative element just by taking some twine and stringing it through the back and making a little bow here in the front. Kind of make it look intentional. Just an easy little fix. And now we can start layering these, putting it together. The reason I painted the popsicle stick is because I knew that my pumpkin stem was not going to quite fit. So I thought I could kind of reinforce that by making a little background here, a little pumpkin stem that can kind of sit up on top of it, kind of poking off the top of the sign, which is kind of fun. So I just hot glue that onto the pumpkin stem and then line that up on our little thrifted sign. And just simply going to attach the lace doily with hot glue along the little sections here. You could always use Mod Podge for this as well, but I think the pumpkin doily, I think that's really a fun, beautiful texture. And then we're going to layer that by doing the little wood leaf sign on top that we did. I'm going to glue my little stem here in place so it will stand up on its own. But if you had a sign that was big enough, you would totally not need to do that step. And then to finish it off, the little Hello Autumn sign that we stained and painted, I'm just going to attach that to the pumpkin doily with hot glue. And it does have orange, so not super neutral, but I think it is kind of a little bit. But definitely beautiful, definitely like a classic feel. I decided to add even a little bit more texture by using some of that fall burlap ribbon from Dollar Tree and just cutting a strip down that would go all the way around the edges, and it's going to just be like kind of a little bit of a burlap frame just to finish this piece off. I'm just going to simply hot glue that around all the edges of my little chunky sign. And this is how it turned out. I think it's so pretty. What do you guys think about our little Hello Autumn? You can sit it on a shelf or you can hang it like that. Okay, next DIY. They have some really great fall signs at Dollar Tree. I wanted to frame mine out, and one of these wreath forms from the Dollar Tree is just about the right size. I just wanted to make a really simple little wall hanging, and I want to cover the wreath form though with something. And I thought I would use some of the burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree. You could always do this with the new burlap rolls they have too. I'm just going to simply cover the entire wreath form with that to give us a nice burlap frame for that beautiful fall sign. And we're just going to make a couple changes to it, take it up a notch, and make it really, I love the fact that there's like no glitter or anything on that. It totally goes with the look of my house. So I'm just going to roll this all the way around, securing any loose ends with hot glue. If I need to start a new roll, I just do so on the back. I just wanted a simple round shape for a burlap frame. And it kind of has like a print of burlap on the sign itself, so it's totally going to kind of blend in. This is the sign. It says Hello Autumn. It's got like a beautiful like watercolor pumpkin on there. I'm just going to go ahead and remove the little bow that was on there. Try not to cause too much damage. And then we can attach this sign to the actual wreath form. So I just do that by attaching it with hot glue. And then we'll add a few more decor pieces to it. So I just glue that straight on front, leaving the existing hanger on there. Now I wanted just a couple like 3D pieces, and I actually had these left over from a Target dollar spot fall DIY, and they're actually like little sticker wood pieces. And I thought that would go great with kind of the style here of the pumpkin. So I added them. So I just added them for another little texture, little wood vibe there. And I didn't really want that original ribbon that was on the pumpkin, but I did kind of damage it a little bit. So I'm going to have to add some kind of a bow there. So what I do is I use some of this beautiful like burlap and pumpkin ribbon from the Dollar Tree. And we're just going to tie a simple little tiny bow just to go right on there, making sure my pumpkin design is kind of visible from the front of the bow. And then we're going to use some Target dollar spot greenery to kind of make this into a little bit of a wreath. So I'm just going to glue that on there. I wouldn't have done that probably if I hadn't damaged the pumpkin there. So if you like the bow that's on yours and it's not messed up, you can always leave that on there. This really reminds me of the watercolor pumpkin DIY that I did recently with the Kirkland's dupe. Kind of a similar style of pumpkin. And I really like this greenery. It's kind of weird. It's definitely kind of a fall color. But I thought we could kind of just string this where it can kind of go down the sides of the wreath form just by attaching it with a little bit of hot glue. And this plant wasn't from Dollar Tree. It was from the dollar spot at Target. I think the colors really work well with it. I do make a little burlap strip here at the top to kind of cover where I kind of glued those on there, kind of make it blend in. And then using a few dots of hot glue along the edges to kind of make it go the direction that I want it to. And I think that looks really like something that would be in a pumpkin patch, a little wandering vine down the side. And this is how it turned out. It was so easy. Basically, we just made a frame, maybe a little bit of a wreath there as well. And this would be really cute in your entryway. I actually displayed this on the side of my cabinet in my kitchen. Very beautiful and so easy to do. I love those colors together. Okay, the next DIY, we're going to do a fun window decal pumpkin. This is actually a Dollar Tree sign, but I got it for 50 cents, half price at Goodwill. And so we're just going to go ahead and use that for the pumpkin shape. But it doesn't matter which kind of pumpkin you get. I just needed a pumpkin shape. So I just removed the hanger off this one and the bow and the leaf and stuff like that. So I can kind of have a plain surface to work on because we are going to make a fun little window decal sign. I don't really care what's on the back of this, but just to clean it up a little bit, I'm going to use some of this like wood contact paper from Dollar Tree and just stick that on the back. It's just going to cover up everything back there, make it look a little bit better, maybe seal in any glitter. I was trying to cut that off, but you know what? It's so much easier just to use a sanding block. So I switched to a sanding block and it gives you that perfect cut all along the edges of your pumpkin. And then we can start decorating the back side of it. That way I'll have kind of a plain surface. And I wanted to use a really fun pumpkin spice window decal that I found at the Dollar Tree. So I wanted to have an ivory background, so I'm just going to use some ivory chalk paint and go all over the back of this pumpkin. Once you add a little paint to those backs of those Dollar Tree signs, you can kind of make them look like wood. And even though it was chalk paint, you can kind of still see the brown through there. So it is going to require a couple coats to get me that bright ivory color that I want for the background. And it's a rather large window decal that we're going to use, and it talks about pumpkin spice, so I think that's going to be really fun. To glue it down, I'm going to do a thin layer of Mod Podge all over the entire pumpkin, And here is the decal. It kind of comes in pieces. And it says, "Home is where you smell pumpkin spice," which I thought was funny. I kind of like the fact that it came in pieces because I was able to kind of like space it out exactly how I need it to make the whole sign. Then I'm also going to add a couple other little decals that I thought would go well with it off of the same sheet. And attach those with Mod Podge too. This is a great way to DIY your own signs if you are not lucky enough to own a Cricut. And sometimes if you don't even want to get your Cricut out, which is me half the time. So once I got that on there and dried, I'm just going to go over all of the window decals with more Mod Podge. I'm using like a matte finish to kind of take away some of the glossiness from the window cling. And kind of sanding it up as well, just to make sure it is down and secure. Now, to really take it up a notch, this Dollar Tree sign, I'm going to use some of these little wooden half beads. I get these on Amazon. I've never seen these at Dollar Tree. I wish they would have them. They make great, like, little borders for signs like this. And so that's what we're going to do. We're just going to hot glue these all the way around. And I do think I have these linked in my Amazon shop below. I always love crafting with these. And this is a great size to work with. I'm just trying to space them out evenly and kind of mirror one side to the other. It might help you to lay them out first. I'm just attaching them all down with a little bit of hot glue. And it's really going to make this cheap Dollar Tree sign just look so much more high-end. It's going to make it look thicker, provide this great texture. And I'm going over and painting all of the wood beads the same ivory that we painted the back of the sign. And then, especially when I work with like any kind of vinyl or decals, I always like to distress them as well. So I'm just going to distress them with that ivory, kind of break it up, make it look not so perfect, and kind of make it blend in more with the sign. So I'm just going over all of those. If I get too much on there, I just kind of wipe it off with a paper towel. I just want a slight distress on everything. And then I wanted a little touch of blue on mine, so I decided to distress the wood beads with some agave chalk paint, this color of blue, just to add a little bit of color to this, even though it's mostly neutral. And then I go back and kind of distress those with the original ivory color, so it's not too much. Then I decided to distress the whole pumpkin with the blue to kind of make that make more sense. Just a fun idea to distress the ivory with actually distress it with blue, instead of the other way around. And then I just make a little hanger. I use the same exact hanger that came with it, popping that back on, and then just using some more twine to glue that and wrap it around the little pumpkin stem, just to make the pumpkin stem look a little bit better here. You definitely have to use some hot glue to start and stop this. But that looks really cute. Gonna burn off any fuzzies. And it came with this little metal leaf, so I might as well use it, right? So I'll just go ahead and give that a coat of ivory and a coat of that blue agave color that we were using just for fun. I really kind of wanted to look super distressed, so I go back over with a little bit of ivory and then just glue that little fall leaf to the pumpkin stem. And then, of course, I have to have a curlicue, a little tendril made out of wire jute from Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to attach that to the jute covering the pumpkin stem here on the back. Have it kind of stick out to the side like that. And I think this turned out really beautiful. You would never know those were just window decals. And I love this saying because I'm all about the pumpkin spice. I'm already hooked. I'm already drinking it almost every day in my coffee. And speaking of pumpkin spice, I thought it'd be really fun to make a faux pumpkin spice. So I'm going to use one of these little plastic coffee cups from Dollar Tree and some of their caulk mastic and just make faux whipped cream to kind of make this look like it is full of pumpkin spice latte. At first I tried to use spackle in one of the decorator bags and it totally didn't work. And I think it's because I didn't mix it with white paint. I think that would have probably given it a better consistency, but you can always use this caulk mastic from the Dollar Tree. It kind of gives you a fun vibe. I tried to use a little decorator tip on the end of it to kind of give me a fancier whipped cream. But basically just going all around until I kind of get like a little pointed whipped cream. And then I just use actual real cinnamon sticks and just stuck those right inside to make this look like a pumpkin spice latte. And I even had some pumpkin spice. So I sprinkled that all over the caulk mastic too. You could also use cinnamon for that. It would be about the same color. And then I'm going to use a pumpkin spice window decal on the front of the cup. So I just do a little bit of ivory paint to cover up the words that were on there. Then cover the front of the cup with Mod Podge and just put my little pumpkin spice latte decal on the front. This was such an easy DIY to put together, and it looks really cute for fall. I went over the top of the window decal with some more of the Mod Podge. I know you can't see it from this angle right now, but I'm going to show you in just a minute. I didn't want my like faux whipped cream to fall over, but basically it's a cup of pumpkin spice that I put straight on the front of the cup. And then I distressed it lightly with a little bit of ivory just to break that up a little bit. And this was so easy to do. Our little faux pumpkin spice. I actually displayed mine on my coffee bar for fall. Such a fun, easy fall DIY. Looks good enough to drink, doesn't it? Better not try that though. Hey guys, I wanted to let you know that I've introduced memberships on my channel for $4.99 a month. You can help support me here on YouTube. You're also going to get early ad-free access to my videos and a few other perks as well, like shout outs. And I want to give a huge thank you to the following Crafty Beach Fun members. Thank you to Karen O'Haron, Coastal Couple, Pamela Bergeron, I Am Mojo Jojo, Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Susan Edmonds, Sandra Ray, Carrie R, Tracy Knight, Verna Noctegal, Julie Miller, Nancy Warner, Jan Zalata, Tammy Coates, and Janae Farrington. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. I appreciate you so much. And now it's time for the final reveal. I hope you enjoyed these $15 Dollar Tree DIYs using supplies from the Dollar Tree. If you did, please hit that like button. It really helps my video. And comment your favorite DIY below. I would love to hear from you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for?
Open up the window. I'm breathing in the last of September. I can feel the wind blow, and the late summer sky is like a giant ember. Everything is turning into gold. When the autumn leaves are playing chase, it puts a smile up on my face. They leave their branches one by one and whirl around there just for fun. Some are faster, some are slow, and some are high and some are low, dancing through the last days of September. Since I was a little child, every year for as long as I remember, all the leaves were running wild, going all the way until November. Turn the world around us into gold. When the autumn leaves are playing chase, it play and chase it, puts a smile upon my face. They leave their branches one by one and whirl around there just for fun. Some are faster, some are slow, and some are high and some are low, dancing through the last days of September. When the autumn leaves are playing chase it, puts a smile upon my face. They leave their branches one by one and whirl around there just for fun. Some are faster, some are slow, and some are high and some are low, dancing through the last days of September. Dancing through the last days of September.
Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of today's video. If you would like to watch more Crafty Beach, YouTube thinks that you might enjoy this video right here. See you next time.